Hey everyone, this video is on a leading change, which is a really fascinating one. And as we know, a lot of change projects are not very successful. So it's a really important one to take note of from, I guess, a person perspective or a neuro leadership perspective. So we know from the brain perspective that the brain doesn't really like change all that much. Reason why? It's very busy up there. It's a device that weighs 2% of our body weight, takes up 20% of our energy supply and 25% of our oxygen supply. So it's essentially an energy hog. And when it is required to do something that's different, it has to come off autopilot and create a new neural pathway, which is hard work. It's a bit like learning an instrument or a new language for the first time or starting a brand new job, right? It takes conscious energy for your brain to be able to do this. So our brains kind of like to avoid it if at all costs. So change is hard. That means we have to really factor in how we initiate change when we are leading, because you are essentially getting people to try and rewire their brains. So we need to factor that in, right? So we've got two models that we introduce you to. The first one is the stages of change model. And if you look at it, it's kind of like steps. And the first step on that model is where people are in a phase called pre-contemplation. So that means I have no intention of changing. I don't want to change. In fact, changing to, I guess, water from Diet Pepsi is not even on my radar. The next level up is contemplation. So it might be that, hey, hang on, I've worked out that fizzy drinks probably aren't too great for me. Might need to do something about it. So I'm contemplating this. Then the next stage is preparation. So it might be like, right, yep, I know that fizzy drinks are bad for me. I am now going to stop buying them at the supermarket and instead buy bottles of that water that's got that slight tinted flavor to it, whatever it is. So I'm preparing myself for this change. And then the next stage is action. So I'm in the throes of the change. So I have now been drinking water, flavoured water, for a number of weeks now. I've made the change. I no longer have Diet Pepsi. I don't know why I said Pepsi and not Coke, by the way. I have no idea. I don't drink stuff. So I'm not doing that anymore. And then the last stage is maintenance. So that is I am making sure that I'm sticking to the water and not going backwards. Because that can happen. We can make a change and then we can revert back. Some things can trigger us to do that. Now, as leaders, what's important about this is recognizing where people are at, because that'll dictate how you lead them. You have to meet people where they're at. Most of the time when it comes to change initiatives, you will be at probably the action or maintenance phase, but your people won't be. They all might be way down the steps there. And so the language that you use, how you approach them, and your expectations have to be managed accordingly. Otherwise, it's just going to be a complete mismatch. It's not going to work. So that is the first model. The second model is managing complex change, where it looks at the various elements that you need to kind of have in place to make sure that, or to ensure that you're going to have a successful change outcome. So I'm just going to move my phone here a little bit. So the different elements are the vision, consensus, skills, incentives, resources, and action plan. So I think it's really a nice little list for you to make sure that we have kind of ticked off all these parts, because if you have, then you're going to increase the likelihood of your change initiative succeeding. We know that if you're missing certain elements, you're likely to see certain things at the other end. So for example, if you are missing the vision, then you're probably going to have a very confused workforce, because they'll be going, what the earth are we doing? Why are we doing this? We don't even understand why they've decided to make us all wear pink shirts to work or whatever. So what is the why? The other way that you can look at it is by looking at what your people are doing. What are they expressing in terms of their feelings and their behaviors? So for example, if you're seeing a lot of, anxiety, it may mean that you've got people who are missing some skills. If you're seeing frustration, it may mean that you have got people who or not enough people. You may be under-resourced, and that's why you're getting the frustration. So this is a really cool model. I highly recommend using it when you are about to implement a change, because it just provides a nice guide for you to navigate your way through, I guess, change in the human brain. All right, so I'll leave that with you. Have a play with it. If you have any questions about this, just shout out.